Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to our second week of the 2020 Halloween special, in which I will be reacting to The Purge. So, by this point, I obviously know what The Purge is. Unlike certain other movies here and there, this is one that's obviously been a little more talked about. Um, Definitely a lot more ingrained in popular culture and stuff. Like people know what The Purge is, even if they haven't seen the movies. Um, I think there's a TV show too, actually. But yeah, and that's the gist. I know what it is. I know the general gist of it. I don't know any of the details. Like I don't know who this movie follows. Like I don't know if it follows a certain character or whatnot, or certain characters. I don't know how it ends. I don't know most of any details. I just know what the purge itself in the movie is. Dogs making weird noises. Um, so yeah, I'm going into this knowing basically that. Um, and I'll say off the bat that there is almost kind of a comparison to be made to Battle Royale. I don't know who here's seen that movie. Because I believe I didn't react to that. I believe I just watched that on my own time. Um, or did I react to it? Oh God, now I don't even remember. No, I think I did react to it because I think I remember making a thumbnail. I know I watched it. I remember watching it. I remember what I was thinking and even saying while watching it. But oh God, I'm having a brain fart of massive proportions here. I could just look that up. But it's kind of like Battle Royale in a lot of ways. Um, Obviously not exactly the same situation. Obviously not exactly the same kind of scenario and everything going on, but it's kind of similar. No, I'm not seeing it on on the channel. I typed in Battle Royale. Maybe I did a review on no, because then it would still show up. I thought I made a thumbnail. I don't even know anymore. Maybe no, maybe what I did was I talked about it on one of those movie catch up videos. Like, oh, I watched these movies and stuff, and let's do like a little short form review of them. I think that might be it. Um, but like, there's a bunch of these movies now, and again, I think a series, and it's like I'm. I guess I can understand how they could make multiple movies and a series out of this concept because you could follow a lot of different characters and situations within it. Um, and if you notice, I've been avoiding trying to say like what the concept of the purge is, basically just because in case there is anyone who hasn't seen it, in case there is anyone who doesn't know what the concept of the purge is, I'm going to just not say anything here, and I'll let the movie in the reaction explain it itself. Um, Obviously, like right off the bat, it's obvious that it's something you don't agree with, though. I will say that it's something that like you would have to be a sociopath to think is okay, and it's obviously something that would never fly in real life. It's obviously something that would just be seen as so insurmountably immoral and absolutely wrong in every way that it would never fly. it would never be like instituted ever. Um, but yeah, like I said, all I really know is the concept. I don't know again who this movie follows. I don't know like any real details about it. I did see like trailers for multiple of these movies. I don't remember exactly which ones. I think one of them is called Election Year or something, and I think I saw the one for that. I don't remember almost anything from the trailers. Um, Again, all I really know is the concept. All I really know is like what the purge actually is. Um, I don't know quite where this is going to go. Um, I can say that this probably won't be a scary movie per se. It falls within the realm of horror for sure. But I won't say I'm not going into it thinking it's gonna be actually scary at all. More the concept is disturbing, and just the execution of everything is going to be more unsettling than actually scary. It's going to be more about the execution of that concept than actually trying to deliver any real scares. You might have a couple jump scares here and there. I kind of expect that maybe a bit, maybe some tension and whatnot. Um, but I don't expect any real scares like you would get from I don't know what would be a good example for me because it's like a lot of scary movies don't work for me in that way. I don't know. I guess what was it called? Was it called Close Encounters? It's kind of like Paranormal Activity, but not. It's 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 one of those that's like almost found footage style, basically. I think it's called Close Encounters. But that one was good. That one was legitimately good. Or hell, John Carpenter's The Thing. That one has genuine scares. Um, Even if the scares are outdated nowadays, but still, like yeah, that stuff would freak you the hell out. But anyways, um, yeah, I'm excited, like I said, to see where this goes. Because this is a big name movie. Like honestly, it's probably even a bigger name movie than Paranormal Activity, and that's a pretty big name for horror movies. Obviously, it's not going to be as big as like the leading horror movies out there, like Scream, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, all those kind of movies. No, those are always going to be bigger. But it's still a pretty big name. People know The Purge. Like, it's well known, very, very well known. Again, even people who've never seen the movie know what the purge is. And most people know what the concept is, but like I said, I'm not saying it just because I want to make sure, just in case anyone is watching this blind with me. Um, but yeah, I'm excited either way. I'm hoping that I really enjoy this. I think this is a Bloomhouse movie too. Um, so it's like the second Bloomhouse movie in a row for this Halloween special. But I have higher hopes for this one because it's not predicated on a goofy ass concept that they just did not make work. Um, uh, at least Happy Death Day was great. But yeah, anyways, I really am hoping that this is a really good one. And yeah, I have high hopes, and maybe in the future, if I end up liking this, we can do other Purge movies. Just watch the entire series of films in order. It could be donation rewards or just whenever, whatnot. I don't know. It's like I'm not going to guarantee anything right now. It's like obviously if it's a donation reward, that's pretty much guaranteed, but still. Anyways, we're going to get on with this. Hope for the best. and see what this film has in store. So, that being said, let's just get on with the reaction. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I'm going to start off right off the bat, like what I kind of wanted to say in the pre-thoughts, but chose not to, just to kind of keep things um, hidden on the full concept of the Purge. I was comparing this to Battle Royale. Um, in the Japanese movie Battle Royale, which is a cult classic, it's like seen as like basically if you haven't seen Battle Royale, a lot of people will say that you need to turn in your nerd card because it's like one of the big nerd cult movies out there. Um, but basically in Battle Royale, the government sends one class of students, I believe every year, to an island and basically has them fight in a death game. Something along the lines of that. I don't remember the exact specifications, but it was like this really fucked up thing, and they tried to use like this stupid reasoning for it. And this is kind of the same thing. And going into this, I knew that. I knew what the Purge was. I knew it was like one night a year, like for like the entire night, 12 hours long. All crime is legal, including murder. And I knew that it was like they tried to justify it. I didn't know the exact ways per se, but yeah. So apparently, from what I gathered here, at some point within the last 10 years, a new system of government was founded upon these elected officials referred to as the new founding fathers. And these new founding fathers were elected, and one of their first orders, I guess, was to create the Purge, where one night a year, all crime is legal, including murder, with a few specifications on that. Like, you can't use weapons past a certain degree, you can't kill certain citizens, stuff like that. Um, but the only thing is, like, the only weapons you can't use are like the highest grade, like military weapons, basically. And the only people you can't kill are like the most important, like government people and shit. Um, and their entire like reasoning for this is that it's a way to that there's basically two big reasons. One, it's a way for people to relieve their anger, their stress, their naturally violent tendencies, which is a bullshit idea in the first place. A way for people to relieve those on one night a year so that crime will actually go down throughout the rest of the year. And from what is shown in this movie, at least based on, again, in the world of this movie, it works. It does actually drastically cut down on crime. Um, yeah. The second reason that they give, the second big excuse for this, is to basically help the economy and shit, to help the American economy, to help the country flourish. And again, from what they say in this film, that also works. Like, it does help with that. The thing, though, is that these are excuses. They are false justifications for evil actions. As I stated in the reaction, there are other healthier ways of letting out your anger and negative emotions, because people do tend to have negative emotions. I get angry, and yeah, there's points where I've like seen people do horrible stuff, and I've thought like I have legitimately thought they would be better off dead. I think everyone has thought that at one point or another. but I don't act on it, and I don't actually want them dead. It's just like a thought that goes through my mind because I'm so angry at them at the moment. And the thing is, there are so many different coping mechanisms, so many different healthy ways of handling that. Some people play violent video games. It's like, oh yeah, let's go play a video game where we can shoot the shit out of people and kill people, but in a fictional setting so that it doesn't actually hurt anyone. Some people punch things, whether they have like a punching bag in their homes or whether they punch pillows or whatever else. Some people use that kind of thing as a way of letting out their anger. And that kind of stuff is great. There is no real justification on why this would be the necessary step they would take. There's no justification for this, like, at all. And the second justification, like trying to help the country and economy and all that flourish, it's basically just the entire concept of materialism before man. It's the entire concept of putting material goods and ideas and shit like that before human lives, and that's always wrong. That in no way justifies anything, because that doesn't help anyone, especially when this is so unbalanced. Like, the entire concept of this is completely in favor of the rich, the people who are going to be able to buy the best security systems, all these shutters and shit, the people who are going to be able to buy weaponry and shit to defend their homes and their families. People who are middle class, and especially people who are poor, are going to be less likely to have that kind of stuff. And they're basically fucked. They're basically fucked in this situation. And it's kind of brought up in this that basically homelessness is down. And it's like, yeah, because they're all being killed. That's not actually solving the problem of homelessness. This doesn't actually solve any problems. Nothing about this idea actually helps anything. Unless you're rich. And that's the thing. This entire concept is built on classist warfare. And I want to say that this is unrealistic. And obviously the concept of the purge itself is, like, yeah, like I said in the pre-thoughts, this would never fly in real life. This would never actually happen. But classist warfare does happen. And people make excuses for it. Even people who aren't rich, people even middle class, will make excuses for it. This classist warfare is excessively common here in America. I don't know about other countries. I don't know about how their governments are run in relation to that kind of thing. But here in America, the rich are constantly stomping all over the poor. Our current government especially, our current administration, are constantly enacting things that help the rich and do like nothing to help the poor. In fact, a lot of times hurt the poor. A lot of these policies that are put in place, a lot of these ideas, hell, just the American healthcare system alone is basically a big middle finger to anyone who isn't rich. It does nothing to help people. It's so bad. And it's ridiculous. This classist warfare exists, and I'm sure it exists very well in other countries. And that's a big problem. And it's a problem with, honestly, not just capitalism specifically. Capitalism obviously is the biggest offender of that, because capitalism is fucked up as it is. But it's a problem with civilized society that I think no matter what, you're going to have an issue with that. Because if you're going to have people who are rich, who have more money for whatever reason, whether they're a CEO of a company or a politician or whatever, when you have people who have more money like that, there's going to be that classist bullshit. There just is. It comes with the territory. And it's so bullshit because the thing is, the world's billionaires could literally solve homelessness and world hunger. They have enough money where it wouldn't hurt them. They'd still be fucking rich as hell. Jeff Bezos alone could solve all of America's hunger and homelessness problems himself and still be fucking rich. Still be a billionaire. Hell, it barely would even do anything to his money. But they don't do that because they like to hoard their wealth and for no reason. That's all they do. They hoard their wealth. And it's fucking disgusting. And so watching this movie and seeing that the family is this wealthy family, it's like really hard to get attached to them at first. It gets a little easier once we find out that they are a family who did start off at the very least lower middle class, because they mentioned that they were barely living paycheck to paycheck. So that they at least understand that, and they actually only became rich through this security system within these past 10 years because of the purge. And yeah, that would probably happen in this situation. There would be people who take advantage of the purge to become wealthy using these security systems and shit. Yeah, that's fair enough. And I know the guy didn't like create this security system. He just it is a salesman for it, but still. Um but as we can see in this movie, like that doesn't actually like fix anything either, because that just it clearly made the neighbors like resent them and want to kill them as well. And it's like, and that's the thing, because even though they lived in squalor before, they were hoarding up that wealth to a degree where they would like flaunt it. They made all this money off of their neighbors and then would flaunt it by building all these new additions to their houses, getting all to their house, getting all this fancy shit. So yeah, it's like you almost you kind of feel bad for them with these specific events and seeing that they are a loving, genuine family. But at the same time, knowing that they've done all that shit as well, it's like you kind of also resent them a bit. I think the only character who truly in this film comes across as a just genuine, true, good person, at least from what we can see. The only guy who we can see who is actually seen as just even more relatable and just everything is the nameless guy who they let in. Well, the son let in. Well, the son and daughter are a little better too, to be fair. But yeah, um, this guy is like he's just a victim, and he does help them in the end still, even though like they were originally going to give him up. He still ends up helping them. And I mean, granted, that's after seeing them change their mind and seeing their familial love and everything, but still. He's the only character who truly feels like a good guy in this. And I mean, of course, the family that we follow aren't as bad as, say, I guess they're called freaks. I'll just call them the freaks. The freaks who came in at first, the first group, and definitely not as bad as the neighbors, even because they supported the purge, but at the same time, they didn't actively take part in it. In fact, they clearly it was made clear that they kind of refused to take part in it. They would just hide away and everything, and so you got to give them some credit there. Um, but yeah, it's like then you see like everyone else. It's like first the freaks come, and then when the neighbors come, they're like, "Oh, we saw that your shutters were down and everything." So it's like, "Oh yeah, we wanted to kill you anyway. Now we actually have a chance." And it's like, so yeah, they were kind of fucked up too. And it's like most of the characters in this are kind of fucked up. And it's like you see through that how just entirely fucked this entire situation is, this entire concept. And they've made an entire like series of movies and again a TV show as well based on this concept. Because like I said in the pre-thoughts, there's a lot you can do with it. Like yeah, this movie specifically showed one situation, one family. Um but there's a lot you could show with this kind of thing. Like this movie didn't even touch on ideas like looting or whatnot or anything like that. It literally only touched on murder. Like that was the only crime that it touched on. And yeah, of course, in this situation, that would be the big one. But it didn't touch on like anything else really. And so it's like with all these other movies that there are for this series, with the TV show and maybe even other media that I just don't even know about. Like there could possibly be books or comics or shit for this. I believe it. Um, there's so many different ways they could tell this kind of story in so many different kinds of locations from so many different perspectives. So like you almost think like, oh yeah, they're milking this series like they are with like say Saw or something. But no, the difference here is that this is a concept that actually almost begs to have a long list of media, to have a lot of movies, to have a TV show, to have comics or books or whatever else. This is the kind of concept that actually lends itself to extremely well. Saw, like, yeah, you could make a few movies out of Saw, but eventually it starts getting old. It starts getting like, oh, this is the same kind of bullshit, just with a different paint, just with a different coat of paint. It's like they don't really have enough wiggle room with the concept of Saw. Because the concept of Saw is basically like, oh, these people aren't valuing life properly or stuff, so let's put them in these death games and shit. And it's like, that's pretty much it. That's the concept of Saw, and it's like, in the end, you can only do that so many times with so many different types of people before it gets old. And that's the problem. Saw got old really quickly. Like I'd put this more in line with like Final Destination, where it's like, yeah, the concept with Final Destination is the same every time, but it actually the reason why it continues to work each time, even if not every movie is as good, is because of the creativity that they use for the different kills. That's what makes Final Destination continue to work because they start to get more creative and stuff. Like especially Final Destination 3, that one was really creative with that stuff. um but yeah, but with like Saw, it just even with more creative ideas for these traps and all, it does get older quicker. Final Destination almost has like a kind of like parody feel to it where it actually works a little better that way. But with this, it's like this lends itself to so many different possibilities. And I really want to see more. And whether end up watching more on my own time or whatnot, or whether you guys choose more of this stuff as donation rewards, which I would be so like happy for and stuff. Um, and just other options here and there. Like that would all be good. And I would be happy to do that. As for my actual like just general thoughts on this film, because I really haven't like talked about that, is like I enjoyed it well enough. It wasn't like the best or most exciting or interesting film in just that. Um, it definitely it definitely kind of pokes fun at and definitely like shows all of the classist bullshit and how that's wrong, and it's clearly that's clearly intentional. It's trying to show how horrible and evil all this classist bullshit is, and how just fucked up people are as well. And if this kind of thing somehow could exist, people would jump on that. It would happen. People would kill without hesitation. And it just goes to show how fucked up it is. And this movie, it's good for that. And I enjoyed it to a point. It definitely never lost my interest throughout the entire time. It surprised me at times. It never lost my interest and never like felt boring or anything like that. Obviously, I was annoyed at parts. I was upset. I was angry. But again, I think you're supposed to feel that because you're not supposed to think like the purge is right. You're not supposed to agree with the purge. You're supposed to find it wrong and fucked up. And I did. So yeah. Um, but I'm interested to see where these kind of movies go. And like I said, if you wish to donate, if you wish to do this as a donation reward, I would be more than happy to do that. But yeah, so I did enjoy this. Wasn't the best movie I've seen, even for reactions and stuff, but it was definitely better than the first week of the Halloween special with Truth or Dare. This was definitely better. Better Bloomhouse film. Or Blumhouse. I don't know how it's actually supposed to be pronounced. Is it Bloomhouse or Blumhouse? Either way, it was definitely better than that, and I did enjoy it. I thought this was good. Again, as I said in the pre-thoughts, like I didn't think it was going to be scary, and it wasn't. Like there was nothing that was inherently scary outside of just the concept being just, yeah, terrifying. Like imagining yourself in this kind of world, it's like, yeah, that would be fucked up and terrifying, sure. But like there was no actual scares per se. It definitely relied more on tension and its concept to drive it, and I think it served well in that. It was definitely still a horror type movie. Um, it definitely still fits with this Halloween special, but it wasn't scary and it wasn't really trying to be, so I can't even fault it for that. Um, so yeah, yeah, I did enjoy this. I thought it was good. I thought it was definitely a worthwhile reaction, and I really thought that it fit for this Halloween special. So I just consider this a success. But tell me in the comments what you thought of The Purge. Did you enjoy it like I did, but also were you infuriated like I was at just how this concept works and all? Um, what did you think of the characters? What did you think of the acting? I thought the acting was fantastic. What did you think of the acting? And what do you even think of the twists that came? There were definitely a couple twists in this film that you just didn't see coming, even though they were actually set up really well. So tell me your thoughts on all of that and more in the comments below. And thank you so much for tuning in to this second week of the 2020 Halloween special. Next week, for week 3 of the special, just want to make sure I get this right. um, Next week, we are going to be checking out A Quiet Place, a movie I've wanted to check out for quite a long time, just never have gotten around to it. But yeah, that is going to be next week, next Saturday. So that being said, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. And if you do wish to donate and have me react to more of these in the future, please do, because I would really love to react to more of these in the future. And it would just be the easiest way for me to eventually get around to them. um, in the meantime, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.